Alrighty. Oh god, thank fuck I have internet access again. God. Uh you get strangely feral when you don't have internet access for a certain amount of time. Okay.
I don't know if that's...
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to own that. I get angry and feral when I can't have internet. Okay. Quick recap. The last session, a whole bunch of weird shit happened. You briefly spoke with Moran, Mordenkainen, Ron, and Rugen, and you learned that Moran has awareness of where the Shards of Avatar is, and that is why you split up. Moran went with Mordenkainen to go fetch Davin, who unknowingly had the jagged sword, which was hilarious and probably will not come back to bite you in the ass. While the party proper went to an underwater lake outside the Tremaine estate called Deepwater Dive, where they met an aboleth that had enthralled all of Baku's kin, basically. They killed the aboleth and freed everyone under its thrall. Hooray. They weren't super grateful, like they just kind of left. But you know,
fair.
Yeah.
Baku's like, it's my family. That's, yep.
Baku's used to that kind of treatment at this point, right. Probably. But they went their separate ways, except for Baku's mother. Oh, by the way, Baku's mother's name is Tala. Kay and I agreed on that name. Because, for those of you who aren't in the know, Baku went with a Filipino theme for their clan.
Yeah. Reppin' the peeps.
Reppin' the peeps. So right. I chose an appropriately Filipino name for their moms. And her name is Tala. And Tala and Moran apparently had a discussion after the end of the last episode off camera. which may or may not come up later. Who knows?
Of course.
Of course not. And let's see what else happened. Oh yeah, Lathander was reborn as an infant in the Temple of the Blazing Dawn, the old Lathander estate, the old Tremaine estate, excuse me, where they discovered the Hammer of the Heavens, and he was in the form of a baby. And as you are carrying baby Lathander back to the estate, it is freezing cold, but like this baby is a weird baby. Like, it doesn't cry, it doesn't fuss, it doesn't seem to mind the cold. It just placidly, like, you know, tugs at, like, the edge of Escher's collar as they walk all the way back to the Tremaine estate.
Through the mud and the cold.
And I believe you said Ember took off his shirt to swaddle the baby?
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's the aesthetic we're going for. Yeah, it's...
Yep.
It's the beginning of winter, it is freezing fucking cold, and Ember's like, time to take my shirt off and wrap my god up in it. This is what my life has become.
But also his pecs look really good. Look, you have to be careful about these things.
I mean, yeah, that's an excellent point. Give me just a second, I realize my air conditioning is on.
I gotta draw this scene and post it on Tumblr and be like, hey.
Gosh, I hope that air conditioning sound wasn't annoying for anyone. I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're like, what's that annoying hissing sound in the background?
I didn't hear anything.
Didn't hear it.
I don't know. You can never be too careful. Anywho, so you carry this baby, probably deliriously, I imagine, back up to the Tremaine estate. And where is the first place that Ember goes? Or Escher?
Yeah, we definitely get to the estate, and Ember's like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. We have to talk to my mother.
Escher's like, yeah, I agree. You know, normally Escher is like the calm foil to your ridiculousnly, but he also does not know how to do baby. Like, this is absolutely new territory for him. So you go tromping up the stairs, and Vasha, you're probably awake, I would imagine.
Yeah. They're
elves,
not exactly being quiet either.
Yeah, they're absolutely not like they are having like a borderline existential meltdown at this point.
Very loudly.
Yes, and so they're running up to Obama Tremaine's, and here's what you see, Vasha. You come around the corner. You've been awake for several hours now, because you know elves don't sleep; they trance, and it's only for 4 hours. And you see Escher and Ember, both of them. Like, Ember doesn't have a shirt on for some fucking reason. And like the hems of
covered in mud.
Yeah, the hems of their pajama pants are covered in mud. They look very cold, and Escher has a little bundle in his arms wrapped in white cloth. And Ember's like banging on his mother's bedroom door, like, Mom!
guys.
We have a catastrophe.
Escher turns around and sees you, Vasha, like, hey, Vasha, guess what we found? Don't guess. You're not gonna guess. It's a baby. We found a baby.
Okay.
It's literally Lathander.
It's literally Lathander. We found Lathander.
Mom, wake up! Mom, wake up right now!
You hear shuffling from inside the door, like, hang on, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Escher's like, do you want to see him? He's cute, I guess.
Vasha goes over.
And yeah, the baby is pretty cute, and not as disheveled looking as Escher or Ember. He doesn't seem cold. The baby sees you, Vasha, and he smiles brightly, and he reaches one hand out toward you.
Aw, I reach down.
He grabs your finger and tugs at it lightly.
No. Hi.
Hi, babbles, just like he's like a fucking baby, you know. And finally,
I feel like it's a good time to establish that Vasha has literally known the Tremaines all their life, so like he saw them as babies.
yeah, Vasha.
They saw them as babies.
Yeah, Vasha is like he's a teenager in terms of like elf, you know, like he's an by elf standards he's a teenager. They're a teenager, but like they've an elf teenager is like 150, yeah. So they've seen like 3 generations of Tremaines, most of them being babies.
You're like literally cradle robbing with Kostya. That's like
Shush. Just
Yes, that is
we're
true.
just gonna like
Don't think
blow
about it
past
too
that.
hard. Don't think
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
So Mama Tremaine finally opens the door. She's got a dressing gown and a robe over, and she's like, "What is going on?"
Ember like takes her by the shoulder and he goes, "Mother, Lathander is back as a baby."
Excuse me, what?
You heard me. He looks like desperate and like a little like he's on the edge. He like takes the baby from Escher and like hands it to her.
She just has this baby all of a sudden, and the baby looks up at her, a big smile, grabs a lock of her hair lightly, and she's like, she doesn't see it, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. She hasn't had her coffee yet. She is
Like, what?
like, what's happening? She's like, this is,
Lathander, so they say.
Lathander.
he says, this is Lathander. And Escher's like, yep, it's Lathander. We found him in the Temple of the Blazing Dawn. It's really him. She's like,
We don't know what to do. What do you do with babies? Oh God, what do you do? Oh, Lathander.
she's like, okay, everyone. It's like she does that thing that moms do sometimes, you know what I mean? Like where there's chaos in the room and she's like, everyone? And like the entire room goes quiet. She says, I think one of our servants recently gave birth. She should be able to wet nurse. Give me just a moment. She hands the baby back to Escher and walks down the stairs.
Stage whispers to Escher, "What's a wet nurse?"
Escher stares at
Really?
you in disbelief. Really? You don't? It's
Really?
It's where a new mother breastfeeds a baby that's not hers.
Ember looks horrified.
Oh my god.
Why?
I really want you to be like, yell out the word breasts.
This is a household of Lathander. We don't use dirty words here.
We don't show women's breasts.
It's just like I really don't have time to unpack all of this right now.
Yeah, no.
And she says, "Let's wake everyone up, I guess, and share the good news, the good weird news."
Good weird news.
You think that people haven't heard the banging on your door?
Right.
Yeah,
Barker's
but
already
this-
like, oh the what?
By this point, most in the upper house have like woken up and poked their head, like, "What the fuck's going on?" So you had agreed. When you initially arrived at the Tremaine estate, it was very late, and they said, "Okay, everyone, take a bath, go to bed." And Moran said, "We'll talk about the Anvatar and what needs to be done with it. After a long rest, after we've had some time to recuperate." And that is still the plan, ostensibly. You all gather down in the dining room, and it is maybe by now like 7 o'clock in the morning. Mordenkainen and Moran are at the table. Your mother is not Baku. David
Baku was
is
like still too tired anyway. They're like, oh, it was really loud. Whatever.
who is banging on the door. Who's banging on the hall doors?
That would be Escher and Ember. Mostly Ember.
Escher sees you approach Baku, like rubbing your eyes. He's like, "Hey, we have a baby now."
Baku's like, whoa.
Escher sticks the baby out toward you. "We have a baby. It's a god."
Baku is like so used to picking the rabbits up, they like instinctively hold it like, okay.
The baby sees you, Baku, and like he has a weirdly like peaceful looking expression on his face. Like he smiles and he grabs the end of your. I guess you're a dragonborn, so it'd be like your snout. He like grabs the end of your snout and like pats it.
Baku is just like, yeah, okay, takes it off the hand like, okay. Like, don't your whole hand could get lost in the nostril. Let's not do that.
Asher's like, so good news, everyone, as, Mordenkainen and Moran are filtering in, Davin's filtering in. Oh, quick aside about Davin. Overnight, Mama Tremaine used the omnibus, the shard of Onvatar she has, to fashion him a special scabbard. It fits the jagged sword, it's designed to hold the jagged sword, and it also has a locking mechanism on it. It's the two bars kind of click into place over the guard of the sword, so he cannot unsheath it. It can only be unsheathed with a key that Mama Tremaine keeps on her person. And also it's very, very heavy, and he has to wear it on his person at all times, and it's basically a metaphor for,
shame.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's his scarlet letter.
Mama Tremaine, she's so clever.
Right.
Mama Tremaine is quite clever, yes. So he has that like over his back, and he's joining with all of you. And Escher's like, so everyone, Lathander's alive again. Hooray! Also, he's a baby, so there's that small addendum thing. Moran is the first to look over. She says, well, I wasn't expecting... And she kind of looks at Mordenkainen, and Mordenkainen's like, it's different for every god. Gods have been discorporated in the past, and the method in which they are reborn is always different. It varies, on their alignment and on their power, their domain. And she's like, yep, and Lathander is a baby.
Ember, didn't you have a dream that, involved a baby? A ways back?
Ember is sat down heavily in a chair, and he's very bleary-eyed, and he looks like he stayed up all night, and he looks up at you, and he goes, maybe?
Baku's like, I kind of feel like all of this is a dream right now.
Something with a black wall, and there were gods, and I think there was a baby. I don't, honestly, right now, it's all a little fuzzy.
Escher sits down and sets baby Lathander on the edge of the table, who has no trouble sitting up. When you first discovered baby Lathander in the temple, he looked like a newborn. But now that you are looking at him proper, he looks at least a month old, which seems a little weird. And he's sitting up under his own power and, placidly playing with whatever is put in front of him, clothes, little bits and bobs, books, just, whatever. And Moran says... All right, well, I suppose in general, it's good news. Congratulations to the new fathers, I guess.
Oh, God.
Look up. Oh, God, I hadn't even thought about that. Oh, God. He buries it in his hands, and he just, looks like, he's like, I'm so happy Lathander's back, but I don't know how we're going to do this.
Escher is kind of staring at baby Lathander. He's like, I mean, he seems like we carried him back in the cold and he didn't even cry, so I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty easy baby. So we have that going for us.
Easier than most.
I don't know what any babies are like. Is this easy? I don't know what's going on right now.
Also, we absolutely cannot just call him Lathander around anyone.
Can we call him Laugh?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Baku snorts like...
Than. How about Than?
No, that's even worse.
What is it? Is that worse?
It is-
This is very subjective.
It is
Okay,
totally
fine. How
worse.
about Ander?
And Asher opens his mouth because his instinct is that that's a terrible. And then he's like, actually, no, that's not a terrible name. Okay, yeah, I guess Ander is good. That's fine, sure, Ander, baby Ander, right, Ander? Baby Lathander just kind of stares owlishly, like, I don't know, I'm a baby.
And then forward, and he gives him his finger, and he's like, "Who's the good Ander? Who's the good Ander? You are."
Lathander immediately grabs the finger. He's a very interactive child. He definitely interacts with anything that's put to him. No crying though, and he doesn't seem to be hungry or anything. And Moran's like, okay, well, this is great news. We really should talk about the end of the world, though. I feel like we should make some time.
Yeah. that's a thing that's still going on.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Mordenkainen sits down next to her at the table, and she stands up and places her arms Last Supper style on either side of her at the table, and she says, "So they are called the Shards of Anvatar, and as you may have already guessed, they need to be reforged. There are some records surviving from my family about how to do that. Bear in mind, it has never been reforged." And ever. It has never done that. So the work that I would have to do is mostly theoretical. At my best guess, it might take 6 weeks, maybe?
Really? Wow.
Do we have
that time?
She
Buck was
says,
like, that's shorter than I thought.
she says, I mean, we don't have a choice. Like, this is new magic. This is magic that has never been done, so...
Baku is like vibrating like, that's so cool.
Mordenkainen leans forward on one arm and he says, I am an artificer of some skill. I may be able to help cut down some of that time. She says, in the meantime, we just have to hold the fort against whatever comes our way.
Apocalypse.
She says, another thing to think about while we're doing this is that when the Anvatar is reforged, it will also need a wielder. All records have shown that the Anvatar is a thing that can be held. It is some sort of tangible item, and it needs someone to wield it. So you should give some thought to which one of you would be willing to do that. All indications are that it is a terrible, unwieldy, powerful artifact.
Baku looks very like, I don't like, their face is just like, yeah, I want it.
Escher's like, nose game, not it.
Right. Baku immediately follows after like,
Definitely
nope,
not
it.
David.
I'll carry your very dangerous artifact.
I was just like, oh, thank God. like, I really did not want to do that. That sounds awful. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. You'll do great, babe. And he like pats you on the back.
I shall help you bear this burden.
So
But,
long
like,
as
not.
it is yours to bear.
Not in like a tangible way. But like,
I shall help you bear this burden. In theory, mostly. Like, I'll be around.
practically, I will do nothing, but in theory, I will say that I had your back. So yeah, so Ember's just like exhausted, but he's like, I will take this on. If you're gonna take away my hammer, I should have something else.
Is there anything anyone wants to discuss at this roundtable while all are present?
We talked about the earthquakes, but that's all that's
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
speaking of earthquakes, you experienced a couple walking baby Lathander back to the Tremaine estate.
Nice.
They seem to be getting a little more frequent.
Actually, so does Baby Lathander react at all to them?
No, he does not actually. He does not react to a lot. Like, you would not dare try, but you are starting to get the impression that you could like slap him across the face and he would not even notice.
Oh.
Oh god, we have to
To
discipline
those
Lathander.
listening, please don't slap babies.
Yes.
No, definitely
Disclaimer,
don't do
don't
that.
slap babies.
We do not endorse this.
We do not endorse baby slapping. Crit Fail Club slogan, do not slap babies.
Exactly. Oh my
Anti-baby slapping.
God. Out of context, right?
Out of context, Crit Fail Club.
Okay.
So yes,
We
any
don't-
questions?
We know there's earthquakes, but we don't think we're assuming they're just going to get decreased in frequency, and that's all we can do about it right now.
Moran says the earthquakes, so far as I've been able to tell, are an artifact of a weakened planar system. Asmodeus's campaign greatly destabilized the planar system. Forcefully changing an alignment of an outer plane is going to knock everything off kilter. And I know you were doing what you had to do, but destroying 3 of the 9 layers of hell was also probably not a great move. That also really badly destabilized the plane.
It was the only move available at the time.
Yeah.
We were open to suggestions. There just wasn't really a lot of people who were stepping up to the infiltrate hell plate.
She says, I know, and I don't hold that against you, but it is worth noting, everything is very fragile right now, and we need to work very carefully. She says, I should probably take this moment to explain what Nagath is, or rather, to be more accurate, what Nagath is not. She says, you understand balance as it is important to the planar system, correct? You know, the balance of chaos and of order, of good and of evil. Like, you can disagree with one ideology, but you understand that all of it needs to exist to have a balanced planar system. You guys understand that, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
There is another aspect of that balance that is equally as important, and it is the balance between existence and non-existence.
I see.
She says,
So non-existence?
she says, the universe as we understand it, and in all universes within the multiverse, they have a beginning and an end in a cycle. They exist, and then they do not exist, and then they exist again, and they do not exist again. They begin as an infinitesimally small point of matter, and then they expand, and then they collapse back in on themselves. It's the breath of the multiverse. She says, the existence as you understand it is the planar system. The lack of existence is Nagath.
Ember's eyes have glazed over, and he's snoring lightly.
I kick him under the table.
You
Good
wake
call.
up and start. Sorry, what were we talking about?
She says,
Nothing important, you know.
she says, it's likely not a coincidence that Nagath is rearing his head. He doesn't have a head. It is likely not a coincidence that Nagath is re-emerging at this point. It is likely a herald that the end of the universe is coming, and right now the best we can do is try to postpone it a little longer. And, like, as she's saying this, you can hear her, like, in her own head, like, this is a very... this is, at best, a poor rationalization, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Out of character. Does Nagath have a gender?
No, Nagath technically isn't even sentient.
There we go.
She explains...
It's just a concept.
Yes,
It's
Nagath is the concept of non-existence.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Okay, so...
So I guess technically you could assign whatever gender you want to Nagath. Just... Technically it's an it, but, you know, if you
Yeah.
can call it he, she, they, doesn't fucking matter.
Gender is made up. Who cares? You can call it whatever.
Yeah. Gender is a construct. Who cares?
Yay!
Any other questions for Mordenkainen or Moran?
So, are we gonna have to fight? How are we supposed to fight the concept of non-existence?
She says, well, with the Onvatar, the last time that this happened, that Nagath tried to end the multiverse, the old gods made an artifact powerful enough to contain it. And somehow it has broken its imprisonment. I'm not 100% sure how. If I had to guess, probably something metaphysical about, you know, the nature of existence, and all things that exist are doomed to one day not exist. But we're going to try to put it back in its box.
Ember looks confused, and he's like, I'm gonna leave this up to you guys, because I just don't understand how I'm supposed to fight the concept of something. So why don't you smart people figure this out? I'm gonna go to bed.
Baku's like, smash it with the big thing. We give you weapon, you use weapon, you smash.
There we go. That's a plan I can get on board with. He gives me two very large thumbs ups.
So, Ember, as you are, like, sleepily walking back toward the bedroom, I assume, because it sounded like you're like, okay, I'm going to bed now.
Like Ember's checked out. He does not. He's like, I don't get it, and I'm too tired to keep getting it. It's not.
So you sleepily head out of the breakfast area, and as you do, you hear on the front door, and then, hello, Tremaines, from the other side of the door, and then, hello, it's your old friend Vanderskane.
Who? Do I recognize that?
You sure do recognize the name Vanderskane. You could, like, if you were being charitable, you would call him a socialite. But you're not feeling charitable, so you'd call him an influence peddler, more accurately. He is a friend of the family, like that person that your mom always forced you to be nice to.
Oh god.
But yeah, you've never liked him that much.
Okay, so wait, is it real quick? Is it canon that I went upstairs and changed, or am I still wearing?
You're still
like...
wearing your PJs, yes. But
Muddy
also,
PJs.
you probably don't care a whole lot about looking presentable for Vanderskane.
I definitely don't. I just want to make sure that it's going to be as unpresentable as humanly
And
possible.
you're only wearing your pajama bottoms.
No, I think I put a shirt on because I wouldn't meet Mordenkainen and
I was like, wait a minute, you had this whole meeting shirtless?
no,
Buck would have been like, unacceptable.
I was just like,
like-
nice.
shirt, so it's like it doesn't look anyway. So okay, great. So I think we have this image. Okay, great. So I like tromp over to the door and I open it up and I just like I think I just glare really heavily. Can like as he's knocking, can I open it on like in the middle of his knocking?
You sure can. His hand like goes flying forward. Quick description. Vanderskane, he is a dwarf. He is, like maybe 5. He's tall for a dwarf, like maybe 5 feet tall. Very portly, long beard. He says, "Oh, it's Ember. Yes, Ember Tremaine, the second one.
It is Ember Tremaine. It's not a good time.
You're the one getting married!" And he like goes forward and he like hugs you around the middle. It's like, "Oh, I heard the good news. I just had to pop in and pay my
God.
respects."
Oh,
It's like,
God.
"Congratulations, my boy." It's like, it just
How
really.
did you not know my name if you knew I was getting married? What
That's
are you-
not important. And he's like, "Listen, like, of course, I cannot wait to go to the wedding, and I am just absolutely eager for all the details. Where's the lucky girl?"
Oh.
This is a really bad time. I think he like takes him. He like pries his arms off of him like gingerly.
It is at this point that your mother comes in. She's like, "Ember, what the hell is..." Oh, God. Vanderskane sees her and she's like, "Wenda, oh, it's so good to see you, my darling." And he like hurries up to her and hugs her in the middle. She's like, "Oh, no."
Help.
And she's, "Oh, Vander, it's been so long.
Like, oh dear.
So long."
Ember's still looking really tired. He's like, "This. I wasn't joking. It's very early, actually. Why are you here? You should go. We'll catch up later." He like
All of
like,
Neverwinter is absolutely buzzing about the wedding, and I had to pop in and meet the lucky girl. And he like goes past her. He's like, "Which one of you is the lucky girl?" And there's only like one like female presenting person in the room, and she looks like significantly older than Ember. And Miranda's
And
kind
Walker
of
just like looks back and forth and is like, but no.
like, "Which one of you is the lucky girl that's going to marry Ember Tremaine?" And Escher's sitting there like, "That'd be me."
Ember like walks in like so he's like, "Oh, good. It's not a good time."
He says, "Oh, you're going to... Oh, okay, well, I suppose that's fine. You're not the Lord Tremaine, so you don't have to, have an heir or anything. So that would be perfectly suitable." And Escher, who is extremely tired, is like, "Yeah, it's not like
No,
you're the
Basha
Lord
is
She's
Tremaine."
like sitting
that's
there
in
sipping
character
tea, like,
laughter.
Yeah, right.
That was in character laughter.
So Ember's super tired, but also these kind of this situation is delightful. So he's like it's like a smile across his face, like a very tired smile, and he goes, "Actually, we've just blessed with a baby."
And Escher just chimes in just to make things worse, like, "We found him in a ruined temple."
Guys, go to bed. You're tired.
I think I grab Escher and also I grab Ander, and then I'm just like, "We're such a happy family."
You
Like,
can
worry not about heirs.
You can tell Vanderskane is absolutely confused by what's happening. Like, he's looking between, like, the three of you. He's like, "Oh, congratulations, I guess."
Thank you. I hand baby Ander to Escher, and then I throw my arm around Vander, whatever his name is, and I'm like power walking him to the door, and I'm like, "This has been so great. I'm so glad you stopped in. It's just excellent."
He says, "No, listen, I have so many questions. I want to know
Oh, no.
all about the,
All of
this...
these questions at another time. And
What
then I
kind of flowers are you using for the reception? Because if you need more gold clover, I want you to know that I recently came into possession of a large quantity."
Okay, Ember actually stops dead.
Oh no.
He stops dead, and he goes, "Really?"
He says,
God.
"Oh yes, you see my fat," and he's like guiding you back now into the room. Amber. And he says,
Back into your own house.
I recently had the opportunity to inherit a small farm outside Neverwinter, which, as you may know,
Inherit or acquired?
that's not important.
It's mine now.
What's the soil quality? Can you grow rutabagas? Because it's so hard to grow rutabagas around here.
He says, "Oh yes, absolutely, rutabagas, whatever that thing you said is." And
I have no idea what that is, but sure.
And Morana's like, all right, like trying to talk, like Vander is talking very loudly, and she's like addressing everyone else at the table. It's like, can you all put your shards on the table so I can just get this leave the room, please? I don't want to be.
Yep, we can do that. That's a thing we can do.
Indeed.
And the moment you all start doing that, you see Vander crane his neck and look at the table. Now, what are those? And he bustles over to the table and his
Just baubles. Come on, let's go talk gold flowers. Come on.
He says, no. Well, first of all, gold clovers. Pay attention, dear.
Giant dragonborn is blocking your path. What do you do? Baku's looking down at him like, yes, tell me more about these flowers.
He says, I am just so interested. Everyone's been talking about the Tremaine family lately, you understand? Ever since I guess, that was your fiancé that sent the missive to the Spires of the Morning, wasn't it? Yes, that's so interesting. And as he's talking, he keeps inching closer and closer to the table where all shards are on the table.
So I think now that we're not talking about flowers anymore, Ember has regained his senses.
He's like, wait.
He's gonna do the same thing. He's gonna throw his arms around him and he's gonna go, again, it's so great to talk to you as usual. It's always a pleasure. Wanting to talk a lot about those gold split when we get a chance, just so much. And as he's like doing that, he's like power walking him to the door. And we get to the door and he's just like, it's lovely, we'll see each other another time soon. You're probably not invited to the wedding, don't worry about it. And he slams the door.
Roll perception, Ember.
Roll what?
Roll perception.
Oh no.
All right, you don't notice anything.
Yep, that checks out.
Oh my god.
Everyone in the room. So now the room is significantly quieter now that Vander is gone. And Escher is staring down at the table. He's like, "Oh God, is this what I'm gonna have to look forward to as a Tremaine? Like obnoxious courtiers?"
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't look forward to it, so I would say no, you would not look forward to it. Do you have to experience it with me? Yes, that's what happens.
That's what marriage is. Doing things you'd rather not do.
You also have to go to the have I not told you about the events we have to go to? Oh man.
It's just like, oh no.
Ember's getting an enormous grin on his face. Like, oh my god, I'm finally gonna have someone to go with me to all of these boring ass functions.
And at the same time, Escher's realizing, oh no, I have to go to all these boring ass functions.
Right, exactly. He realizes what he got himself into.
What have I done?
He fell in love.
Escher kind of runs his hands through his hair and he's like, oh god, and then he realizes, he touches the back of his head and he's like, where's the crown?
Oh.
Where's the crown? Where's the life
Put it
binder
on the table with the rest of us?
No, I was about to, but Vander was in the fucking ways. Oh my god! And then he runs back
toward the door.
Yeah, exactly. We all should make for the door.
Ember still looks very confused. He hasn't gotten it yet.
He did roll a 2.
Just grab him and be like, "Let's go."
He did roll a 2 on his perception check. So
Can he be holding the baby? Like, can Escher thrust the baby
yeah,
out?
Escher definitely pushes Ander into Ember's arms. Oh god, Ember, Escher.
Oh god.
Damn it! We made it worse. We made it worse.
I threw up 3 separate names, and you only accepted the last one. And that's how
The first two were dumb.
Man.
Oh god.
It's too late.
Yep, too late.
So you all immediately tromp toward the door and you pull it open and you see Skander Vane standing still on the stoop, and he has the life binder in one hand and he's staring at it.
Perhaps you should return what is not yours.
He looks at it and he turns to you, Baku, and in a voice that is not his, he says, Well, I wouldn't call it yours either.
It belongs to one of my friends. Put it down.
He says, I think it would be more accurate to say that it belongs to gods whose age is fathomless to your tiny, tiny minds.
Oh boy.
He tucks
like, oh, dear.
he tucks the life binder into a small bag that he has, and he says, "I think I will also take the other 5. Thank you."
Okie dokie.
think
Who's gonna try to
not.
stop him?
I'm still with the baby.
Yep, it is taking them a long time though, Ember.
Yep.
Yeah, I think not.
So are
you're
Mordenkainen
not gonna get
and
them.
everybody still here?
Say that again, Amber.
Mordenkainen's still here, right?
Mordenkainen is still here, yes, and he's starting to try. He the moment he's starting to catch up on what's happening, and he's heading out toward the front door as well.
Ember's like, where are we all okay. And he's just he takes the baby, like he still has the baby in his arms, and he's trundling out towards.
He says, "Well, let Vander." By the way, Vander says, "All right, well, let me rephrase the question. Give me the other 5 shards, or there will be a conspicuously dead noble on Tremaine land that you will have to deal with."
Baku's just like, do you count as a noble? Because you could be the dead one. You just never know with these things.
I think
I
it's like
think that's the
threatening.
threat.
I think so. Oh god, now I'm doing it.
Amber. We had to do it.
Oh god.
Not good. Okay, so Ember walks up with Ander, and he sees what's going on, and he's like, "What does he have? Is that the
Yeah.
Esther
You
says that's the life binder.
He steps forward. And he's like, "How dare you come into my house from me?"
Escher, actually, I guess he should technically roll Arcana. What's his Arcana is +5. Escher says, God damn it, quiet phone. Escher says, does anyone else smell that magic on him?
That's not a
Baku
thing I
hears the
can
word
do.
magic and I was like, wait.
You can
And
roll
they
an
roll.
Arcana check too, Baku. If you would
Okay.
like.
Magic smells. We have to
Baku's like, shh.
right now.
Yeah, smelling magic, that's not a thing I can do either. It's not just you.
I think so. Yeah, so Ember's mom left already, right?
No, Ember's mom is still with you. She's starting to come toward the foyer now too. No, it's
Not
fine.
as good.
No, it's fine. The DC was 10.
Okay.
You hadn't noticed it at first because you weren't looking at it, but now that you are looking for it, this Vander's skein is under the effects of the spell Dominate Person.
Oh, great.
Oh no.
And based on the potency of the magic, you'd say it was cast at a pretty high-level spell, which means he is under whoever cast the spell's control for up to 8 hours.
Hmm.
Any way we can counteract it?
Oh, there are a couple ways. Actually, let me double check. The creature is charmed, which is the status that it has. It doesn't say anything about dispelling it. Presumably anything that could get rid of a charm could get rid of Dominate Person. I don't think a regular dispel magic, especially one for a Dominate Person cast at 8th level, could do it.
It says each time they take damage, they make a new wisdom saving throw.
As a noble, he has... Let me double check how much HP a noble has.
At 8th level. Oh.
Yeah.
Nobles have 9 hit points.
Nice.
We'll just keep punching him, and
Yeah, right.
You guys are level 15. One punch will
Right?
do
Lightly slap him.
I didn't mean to jug him so hard.
I'm gonna take off my glove and slap him with it. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I think I've handed the baby to my mom, and
Good move.
Yep.
I'm just gonna tackle him. I'm gonna try-
Okay.
All right, I guess. Yeah, I guess technically we have. Well, no, not yet. Okay, so
I was
you
like, do we have to
you tackle him. I wouldn't say you have to bodily tackle him. Like I said, he is classed as a noble. He has 9 hit points. His AC is 10. So this is not like a situation where he's going to be able to struggle against you effectively. So you could just, put him in a headlock or whatever if you wish.
Great. I put him in a headlock. I give him a
And do what with him?
Uh,
Didn't think it through, did you, Ember?
Right. Ember's just like, wait, I grab him and
why would I think it through? I'm like, did someone see where he put the life binder? Grab it.
Yeah,
He put it in
a
his bag,
bag.
yes.
Great. Take it out of his bag.
Escher, since he's the one attuned to the life binder, he goes forward and he rummages and he pulls it out and he takes a couple steps back. And Vander Skane watches you all do this, and he says, "You know, the multiverse, it's run its course. It is time for it to die. You realize that, correct?"
it will die eventually, but
don't
now is not
agree
its
with
time.
that.
I've had a lot of philosophy this morning, and quite frankly, it's getting quite tiring.
He says,
So-
"Okay, that's fair. You know, philosophy can be exhausting, so let me just ask this instead. Why are you trying so hard to save it?"
Well, I just
Because we
kinda
exist in it.
And I was really looking forward to that. I was going to have a lovely wedding. We talked about it.
His eyes land on you, Vasha, as you speak, as you live in it. And he says, "Oh, you consider life precious, Vasha Damek? You consider it worth saving?
Of
Oh,
course I
dear.
do.
Was life precious when you murdered all of my cultists as they were fleeing for their lives? Or was it precious when you murdered a millennia-old aboleth doing nothing more than its nature in its own den? Was life precious then?
Baku was like, that was protection.
And who gets to decide at what point life is no longer precious? Is it you?
No, and it certainly isn't you either.
Then why have you killed so many people? So many things that could have certainly been solved peacefully.
You can't reason with an aboleth.
But you can reason with cultists running for their lives. You know, I found many of them after the fact, once you'd left the den. They were shot in the back of the neck. He says, was their life precious, Vasha Damek?
Who are you?
He says, well, I think it should be obvious. I'm Verain. Well, I am Vander Skane, but I am wearing his skin. And he says, here's the question. Why do my questions make you so uncomfortable, Vasha Damek? Is all life precious, or is it just the life that you decide is precious? If you get to be the arbiter of who lives and who dies, what makes you better than me?
Asha's really uncomfortable.
Damn.
He says, I may want the universe to end, but at least I'm intellectually honest about it.
Ooh.
He says, it won't be long now anyway. The planar system has been terribly damaged, and Nagath is rising. Can't you feel it?
We can, but we will stop it. Not even a little toad like you is going to get in the way. We have assembled a team, and we are going to make sure that you don't ever get what you want.
He says, I suppose it would be like waving a sword at a sunrise, or, trying to fight off an avalanche with a matchstick, wouldn't it? He says, well, if you're so sure, then good luck to you. I'll be back for these shards of Anvatar. But in the meantime, something cuts him off as he's speaking. You hear one enormous, terrible roar coming from somewhere off in the distance, and then you hear another one, and then another one from two different locations.
Oh, God.
And he says, well, good luck. And then his head snaps to one side violently, and you hear the neck crack, and he collapses in your arms, Ember.
Gross.
Yike.
Bring him back to life.
Not right now. It
No.
sounds like we have bigger things to deal with right now.
I just also literally can't let somebody die. I'm gonna cast.
Let's roll initiative really quick first. Get that out of the way. All right, initiative has been set. Anyway, we're not technically in initiative yet. I just wanted to get it out of the way so we don't interrupt the action later.
Right.
His neck breaks in your hand, Ember. What did you want to do?
I want to cast Revivify.
Okay. Make sure you use up that spell slot.
I will, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would keep it for later.
I got my 4th level spell slots back. I'm fine.
And we might need them.
I'm like,
I can't let somebody die. Like literally, I cannot do that.
As you are saying this, Vasha, saying like, save your spell slots, Escher is looking at you. Like he was listening when Vander was talking about how you shot cultists fleeing.
I know.
Is that
know
true?
how terrible that sounds. I'm
not doing it. Like, I believe in, like, my god would not let me.
You remember that barrier. You remember the barrier in the astral plane. Like, there's a decent chance we won't even be able to bring him back right now.
It doesn't matter. I have to try, and I just do it.
He has only been dead for a couple minutes, so his soul has not had time to move significantly in the astral plane. And he comes alive, shuddering in your hands. He says, "What happened?" And then you hear another coming from the sky.
I get him up bodily, and I'm like, "Get into the house. Go."
Yeah, like go now.
Somewhere. I don't know. I don't have time for this. Hide in the cellar, and I like shove him inside. And I guess we need to go get our artifacts off the table.
Yeah.
Lady Tremaine grabs Vander when he stumbles inside. He's like, "David, with me. Vander with me as well. Boys, we'll be in the basement. Please, if you need anything, don't hesitate to call me up."
Okay.
We will. Be safe, mother.
She takes Escher and David and Vander, and she hurries down into the cellar with the omnibus, which she also grabs off the table. As you all run inside, Escher turns and looks out the window, and as he does, he sees two enormous black wings spreading out over the horizon. He says, "Okay, actually, I'm going to have him roll nature. Let's see if he can recognize them."
Anybody's roll will be better than mine.
A 14. With the 14, he says, "All right, that's a shadow dragon. That's a shadow dragon, is what that is.
What?
Oh god.
That's a dragon who's been in the Shadowfell, and his form has been cursed."
Baku just hears that and is just like, oh no.
I think so. Ember is like hastily, like as we're doing this, he's hastily putting armor on, so he has like half of his like.
Yeah, Escher is like throwing his robe on over everything, and he's putting the crown back on, and he says, "All right, so shadow dragons. Here's the thing: they are enormous, but they are also quite stealthy, and there's a very good chance." And as he's speaking, suddenly, from the corner of the room, the shadow behind a chair, an enormous shape explodes out from the corner. It sends furniture flying. Two enormous black wings crash through doorways and windows and walls. And an enormous dragon that does not seem to be able, like, you're not even sure how it got inside, is suddenly directly in front of you.
Ow!
That's a good question. You'll have to roll nature if you want to know the answer to that question. Mordenkainen says, "There were more outside. I heard more cries."
There's more.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Mordenkainen says, "Moran, with me." And Moran immediately busts through, like breaks one window with the one, like just casually smashes a window.
They're very expensive. Please don't. Oh,
and leaps through the window. And Mordenkainen's like with her, like, "We'll handle the ones outside. Take care of this one."
Okay.
Yes, I rolled a 19 for my nature check. Does that mean I can?
Yes, how a dragon got inside. A shadow dragon has the ability to pass through any dark area of 1 inch or larger.
Oh my god.
Yay.
All right.
Okay.
Let me add this to the initiative order.
Oh god.
That's a 17, which was better than Ember, so he's going to go right after Vasha in initiative. All right. Ooh. Sorry, knocked my microphone. All right, first up in the order is Vasha.
Yay.
Woohoo!
Get it. Get it.
Yeah, I feel like we had all scrambled in to grab our weapons, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what we did. That's what I want to do.
A 33.
Wait a minute.
Does a 33 hit? All right, so that's a critical hit. So it does hit and double damage.
Okay.
Woo!
And I'm also using the lightning arrow because that's a bonus action.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, 49 hit
Ooh,
points.
49.
That's a good. That's a good hit. That's a good hit. My sweet elf.
Thank you.
Let me
I do one thing well.
bust out a little too well, according to Verain.
Yeah.
Verain was really
I will
sassy
unpack
with
that in
Vasha.
therapy later.
Next,
Magic therapy.
magic therapy, elf therapy, which I guess is like talking to trees. I don't know. Next up in the order is the Shadow Dragon. So he is taking up like 9/10 of this room, this dragon. So he is going to hit every single one of you with his necrotic breath. I need all of you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, no.
Good.
Oh no.
My least favorite throw.
Right? Right? No, no.
Oh, wait, so is everybody within 10 feet of me?
Yes.
Okay, so you get a bonus because I've got aura protection, so add
It's your charisma mod, right?
my charisma mod, which is
Oh
plus
god,
3.
please.
+3?
Okay, so that makes mine 16.
Mine is still an 8, though.
All right.
Jesus.
So the only one who beat that save was Escher.
Ah.
The rest of you are going to take 56 necrotic damage.
Oh my god.
Damn!
And
What?
Escher is going to take half of that, which is, you know, what number? Um,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
It is going to go for you, Ember, because, you know, you're the tank, and you're the big, tasty juice box that he wants to bite right into. 28, I assume, hits your DC?
Yes, it does, yes.
All right, that is going to be... that is going to be 18 piercing damage plus 3 necrotic damage. So that's a total
Okay.
of 21 points of damage.
Gotcha.
And then he's going to claw at you.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a crit.
Oh, God.
Oh dear.
That's going to be 19 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And that is the end of the Shadow Dragon's turn. Next up in the order is Ember. How you doing, Ember? How many hit points do you have left, my sweet? My
Third
sweet...
of my health, so I'm in the 50 range, so you know, not great. Okay, I am going to divine smite the motherfucker.
Escher says, "Can you aim it so it doesn't breathe on us, please again, please?" He's like, "I'll heal you once it's my turn." You know, he doesn't know what turns are. You know, he will.
Right,
He says,
exactly. It's like,
"I'll
I'll
heal
heal
you
you
soon. A heal coming up." All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So roll damage
Oh man, I should have done that thing. Anyways,
or roll to hit rather.
yeah. So
How do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
I don't know. It's been a long
Honest
time.
right now, I don't fucking know. Holy fuck! I rolled a nat 1. I'm gonna lucky reroll.
Oh,
Ba,
God.
ba, ba.
Rerolling that
Wow.
shit. That is not acceptable. There we go.
There we go. 31. Yes, the 31 does hit. Roll damage.
Okay. Deduct a luck point, and then I gotta figure out how much that is. Okay, so it's a Shadow Dragon. That's not anything that would be affected by Radiant, right?
It's not a fiend or an undead or whatever it is. Paladins get extra points on. It is classed as a dragon. I imagine, like, if they could, they would
Like,
say
it's a dragon.
barely. Like, it's barely a dragon at this point.
There we go.
Okay.
54. Beefy boy. Beefy boy.
Okay.
Mm.
And we're gonna do that again.
Yay. What are you attacking
Wow! Holy fuck!
Wow,
Another
that's
one.
2 nat 1s.
with? Wow.
Are you going to use another lucky point or no?
I'm not. No.
Okay. So you did a good bit of damage to it. Next up in the order is Escher. Escher is going to use... How about this?
Shush.
How about this? He's just going to cast Harm on it, because that is a butt fuck of damage. It's 24... Okay, that's not as much damage as it could have been. Oh well. That's the best that Ember can do. Mine is 24. Okay. Escher 50. Yeah, I know. It's like... No, it's fine. They all have... 3 characters have basically the same name.
Not to
I
mention
love
our
that we have an Ander now. It's great.
Baku, you are up.
Okay, yeah,
I
I can
just, like-
imagine that.
Escher's like, do something very powerful, Baku!
Baku sees this like enormous dragon and is just like, of course. Like, what else would it be?
By the way, as you are fighting this, you are starting to hear some consternation from higher up in the Tremaine estate near the tower.
I guess I'll just get out the big guns and do sunburst. That's my level 8 spell.
Does it need what kind of save?
60-foot radius centered on a point, so like wherever the dragon sprang up from.
What kind of save does the dragon need to make?
Constitution.
Con?
Constitution.
Okay, it's got a...
Yeah, con save. So
16 does not do it, I'm guessing.
no, it does not.
It's gonna eat all that damage.
Okay, yes.
12 d6.
Yeet!
Get it.
Okay,
Don't
so-
bother adding it up, it's dead.
Okay.
It's like it's fine.
So Baku swallows the room with light. The dragon lets out this enormous howl of pain and collapses at your feet, and its corpse is smoldering and smoking. It is at this point where the consternation up in the tower suddenly turns into the sounds of battle, and you hear this enormous crack, which you think might be the Tremaine tower, like this tower itself breaking.
Oh
Ember
no.
runs out immediately.
Escher is following in your footsteps. So you all run up the stairs, and you can hear the sounds of some sort of epic battle going on. And when you clear to the very top of the tower, like the Tremaine Estate has a lookout tower, which in ye olden times was used, like in actual battle and stuff. But now it's mostly used as like a nice view from the top of the estate. Unfortunately, the roof of it is gone, as is one section of the stone wall, and in the air you can see Moran. On her back is Mordenkainen, who is flinging spells down at a second shadow dragon, who's kind of like perched on top of the broken tower top. The dragon it looks injured, but it is still kicking. What do you want to do?
Save my mom.
Next
And
up
Mordenkainen.
in the order is Vasha.
Vasha.
Ha ha ha! I am going to shoot at that thing.
16 is not a hit.
Well, I'm gonna do it again. Because I have multi-attack and I remembered this time.
Yay.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right, roll damage. 34 damage. Yeah, you do a pretty big, nasty hit on it. It is not quite down, but it is still definitely wounded. It is now the Shadow Dragon's turn. The Shadow Dragon takes an arrow in the side of its face. It turns, and it's going to breathe a Shadow Breath at all of you again. I need everyone to make a Dex saving throw.
Sorry.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Oh god, I'm gonna die, guys. It's fine. Goodbye.
Oh no.
It's fine. Ember's like, it's fine. I can bring you back. I can do that now.
You know,
Okay, so we're supposed to add plus
Concept of
3,
death
right?
any bit more palatable, okay?
Right?
Ember, we're supposed to add plus 3 to it? Yes, no?
Plus
Three.
3, yes, with
Okay, so that
Ember's thing.
means, yeah.
Ember, do you want to use a luck point?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So that Escher and Ember are going to be taking
damn.
56 necrotic damage.
Oh, shit.
I am dead.
Oh, no.
Collapses.
Unconscious, but yes.
You're unconscious, not dead. Yes, that's
But I feel like I'm dead.
Yeah, that's accurate.
and now the Shadow Dragon is going to lunge at you, Vasha, because you're the one
Okay.
that stuck it with an arrow.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
I did roll a 2, so it doesn't hit you.
Phew.
But it's got multi-attack.
Yeah.
Right, but I was like, but it can go again.
It sure can.
Yep.
That's gonna hit.
No.
Yep.
You are gonna take 13 slashing damage from its claw, Vasha.
Okie dokie.
Next up in the order is Ember. Make a death save, my baby. My sweet paladin baby.
What do you do for that?
That's a 1d20 straight. All right, that's a success. So you have 1 successful death save. You need 3 to regain consciousness.
okay.
Next up in the order is Escher. Escher is going to use Spare the Dying on you. He's just going to slap you in the face with Spare the Dying.
It's like, smack, wake up, babe.
You are now... Wait, does he actually have something better? I don't think he has Revivify. No, he has Revivified prepared. Well, you're not dead. You're just unconscious. All right, he's going to use his Cleric feature, Preserve Life. He can restore an amount of hit points equal to 5 times his Cleric level, so 5 times 15. You wake up, Ember, with 75 hit points.
Oh, nice.
You are still on the ground, however.
Right.
He's like, get up! You don't have time for this right now.
I'm getting. Thank you. I'm getting up.
Next in the order is Baku, and Escher's like, Baku, do something impressive again!
Fuck is like, stop yelling at me!
I don't need this pressure!
Right, Baku just is like, yeah, just saw Ember, fall over. Oh shit, oh shit.
It's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sunbeam this time.
Alrighty. What save does he need to make?
It's a con save. Again.
Okay, that is a +9 for our...
Baku's like, well, the sun, the light seemed to do a great job last time, so let's just keep it.
16 is not going to do it.
Nope.
Roll damage, and remember, it is a guaranteed crit.
Guaranteed. Okay, so this is
Baku is like, when did Baku become so insanely powerful?
Baku's always been
That's
pretty
what-
powerful.
Right, exactly.
That's what sorcerers
68.
do.
Sorcerer
Why
Am
is-
I supposed to double it? Because it's
Yes, so
68.
12d8
to
12
12
d8. Okay, good.
Bomb
I was
up.
like, before I roll, 12 d8. Woo-hoo-hoo.
plus 11 because you're
Oops,
still not.
oops, oops! I forgot to add.
That's
meant
fine,
to
we can just add
plus
11 to this.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
that's-
60.
yeah. Okay,
60 damage. Oh gosh, it is not doing too well. It is now Moran's turn. Moran is going to use her Thunderous
Oh, and then
Breath.
it's also blinded until my next turn.
Excellent. Moran is going to use her Thunderous Breath. It needs to make a con save, which it has failed. So it is going to be taking... It doesn't matter how much. The Thunderous Breath kills the dragon. The dragon collapses onto its side again, and you see there is another dragon off in the distance that you are willing to bet Mordenkainen and Moran had just felled. There is a third somewhere. You can hear it screaming, but you do not know where it is. You are standing at the top of the tower, and Moran is like gliding down and on top of you, and she pops into her human form, and she helps catch Mordenkainen before he falls over entirely.
Wait.
You're all staring at each other. Escher is grabbing you by the shoulder. Ember, he's like, "You okay? You okay? You feeling all right?
I'm up.
Everything is still attached. You're fine."
Probably it's fine. We'll talk about it later. I didn't need that thumb. Let's go.
You're saying, "Let's go," and right as you say that, the sky starts to get a little bit darker.
No.
Together, you all turn toward the horizon, and there is an earthquake rumbling underneath your feet. A shadow is starting to fall from the sky directly over your head. It is slow, but it is inexorable, and it is falling, it seems, over top the entire sky as you can see it.
Oh no, I feel like I saw this in a dream. How sad.
Gods preserve us.
Something is happening. I would like Baku and I guess Escher can also roll an Arcana check. With the 22, Baku, you think you have an idea of what's happening. You talked about it briefly, but sort of when Shemeshka mentioned why she was helping you despite being, neutrally evilly aligned, she mentioned something about if the planes fall too much out of balance, Sigil will fall from the spire and crash into the material plane.
Ooh.
You think that's what's happening. You think literally another plane is about to crash into this one. You do not know how long you have based on the rate the shadow is moving, maybe moments. What do you do?
Baku's like, everybody run! I don't know. Like, shit, another plane is falling into us! I don't know.
Can you cast a teleportation spell or something?
Your mother's in the basement.
Yeah, I was like, we have to go get her, or
Okay, fuck. I think
also it
it's-
takes, I don't know how long I have.
That's fair. Ember's running for the basement. Ember grabbed Escher. And
Escher grabs Ember by the wrist and he looks at you.
Uh-oh.
He's looking at you, Ember, and he's like waiting for you to put it together. Like, babe,
The scroll?
we've got to use it.
Oh, gods.
I forgot I had. Okay, I guess I just pull it out.
All right.
Baku just like looks at Vasha and then like looks at Ember and Asher like, okay.
Baku, with your 22, you know how the wish spell works. You're a sorcerer, you know magic. You have to phrase it like a wish, as in I wish blank.
Right.
And you think the best way, you know that phrasing is absolutely everything with the wish spell.
Right.
It is easy to backfire if you do not phrase it correctly. So the shadow is getting larger and larger in the sky. How do you want to phrase this?
Oh dear gods.
Ember's pulled it out and is like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do, and he like starts saying something.
No, Baku's like, stop. The phrasing is very important.
It's okay. I'm gonna let you worry about this. You just tell me what
The
to
shadow
say.
has taken up about half of the sky.
Oh god.
Oh, damn it.
Quickly.
Okay.
Quickly.
Oh, God. This is terrible because I don't know what Baku should wish. Okay, like they begin like, I wish.
I think
Well, we're-
trying to come up and he's like, okay, what if we wish for this plane not to crash into this plane?
I mean,
Escher says
Yeah.
there's some wiggle room on that. Like,
yeah, I was like, that's not specific enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
what if I
Wish that the plane stayed in its original like form of
Escher's
I
like,
wish for
Planes were stabilized again.
like exactly planar stability. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah, but what if
that's-
what if
that's
that
still very
undoes-
broad.
I know.
Escher
That undoes
says,
everything
what
we
if
did.
what if I wish that Sigil was back at the top of an unbroken spire, maybe?
Unbroken spire. Okay,
I think it
that
sounds
could
good.
work. Yeah, that's very specific.
I'm gonna say it. I think we're just gonna say it.
Okay.
All right.
Baku's like, that's encouraging.
Right.
Okay.
Ember, I can imagine you walking to the edge of the tower, and you're very high up, and the wind is whipping past you. And as you get to the edge, you can see Neverwinter in the distance, and you can hear just barely the bells of the spires of the morning ringing an alarm. You hold the scroll up. What do you say?
Oh god. I wish I guess I'm looking back at you guys as I say this hesitantly.
We're like all mouthing like, I
Um,
wish. Sigil was
I wish that Sigil was at the top of an
Unbroken spire.
Unbroken spire.
A lot of things happen at once. There is a cataclysmic rush of air and energy. The shadow suddenly stops descending in the sky, but the rumbling doesn't stop. You hear a sound that is now strangely familiar to you. It is the sound of reality as it is forced into compliance. The shadow starts ascending back up the sky. The rumbling only gets worse, however. It continues, it gets louder and louder and louder, and as the wish spell starts to take effect, Ember, your strength has now been reduced to 3. So I would like you to jot that down, and I would also like you to roll a 1d100. 1d100.
Uh-oh.
All right. Your strength is now 3. Anytime you cast magic, you are going to take... How much damage is it? Let me double check.
1d10
One...
per level of the spell.
Yes. All right. So there's this enormous sound of reality reshaping itself to your whim, and you can feel the strength and the power of this spell sapping your life. Ember, you fall to one knee. You can feel like the muscles in your arms and your chest start to wither underneath your skin.
This is my literal worst nightmare.
Like, oh no.
I think I just
Escher falls at your side and grabs one hand and starts uttering a prayer with you.
I joined in. I think so. We were praying to Lathander, praying for safety. Dear Lathander, who is in our basement as a baby, please protect us. You probably can't do much right now. Anyways, just
Let's leave it there for tonight.
Oh, my god.
boy. That was terrible.
Oh. Well, at least I literally have therapy tomorrow, so I can unpack some of this shit.
Poor Vasha. I was like, oh man, he's just like going at you.
Oh.
definitely not okay to be like sit there. Just let that dude die for a 4th level spell slot. Like so immoral. Most immoral thing I've ever heard.
Honestly, when I heard you, like, and especially even after the aboleth, where your instinct was like, okay, I'll kill these dragonborn too, and I was like, why? And then I started to think about that time, the session before, when Vasha just thoughtlessly killed fleeing people, and I was like, you know what? It's time we should confront this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You are completely right.